Hey guys, it's Blue Eyes Master 91, and first things first, I do want to apologize for my last upload with the EDO Pro deck profiles. I noticed after I uploaded them that I had the updated Attic Nister and Galaxy Eyes put together in one video, and then I uploaded the Galaxy Eyes separate. I will be fixing that here shortly. I will take down those videos. I don't know how that happened, but that's going to get fixed. Anyway, today I thought I would do a TCG version of the Attic Nister update. So let's dive into it. So the deck hasn't changed that much from the online version. I think there's a few differences between what I used online versus the TCG, but it's still the 3 Picari, 3 Achichi, and 3 Doyan. That's just my staples. I know a lot of people don't run all 3 of these at 3. I do because it just is the consistency factor. I noticed that with 1 Doyan, it would break a little bit more. With 2, it was almost there. And then with 3, I now have more viable options. So that's why I'm running 3 Doyan. For Achichi, it's just that ability to search, and because you're banishing it with the effect to send your Phoenix to grave if you summon Attic Nister Fire Phoenix, it's nice to have another copy or 2 in the deck so that way you don't feel trapped. And then as for Picari, that's the only one most people play at 3, and that's just because his effect is really, really good. To search out a spell, and then also his on-field secondary effect would be that you can once a turn make a monster level 4 to go in your Light Dragon. It's always nice to be able to do stuff like that. Next I have 2 Buru, 2 Hiyari, and 2 Doshin. Doshin and Hiyari are in here because they can special summon themselves. So that alone is a really, really good ability because you don't have to use your copy of the field spell to special summon them. They can just special themselves out. I do not run the fusion spell or the fusion monster, and I do have the Water Leviathan ritual, but she's only in here for the new Firewall Dark Fluid as a means of pitching, and that is the first thing I tend to pitch from the deck, so that way I don't have to worry about her. So that's why those 2 are here. 2 Buru, it's nice to have the extra wind. Again, most people play Buru at 1, and that's a really good if you're not trying to run the new Firewall Dragon, that's fine. But it gives you an option to pitch the Wind Ignister monster from the main deck versus your Wind Pegasus. Plus, he's really good at sending stuff to grave when he's summoned, so that kind of helps out too. So that's why he's at 2. Next, it's 1 Gusari Attic Nister, 1 Gachiri, the single copy of Damari. I already mentioned I have 1 Water Dragon, so don't really need to talk about her. I don't run the ritual spell to use her. Damari is a really, really good hand trap. This deck's been out for a while, so I don't feel like I need to really explain every detail on why a card is in here. But, I mean, it's really useful as a hand trap, I guess, is the key. I mean, all 3 of these are really, really good hand traps. Excuse me. Gachiri allows you to special summon himself in defense by negating a monster's effect on your field. So that's kind of useful. Because because you could go into Splash Mage as long as it's a Cyverse that you are negating. Yeah, one Cyverse effect monster, negate the effects. You can special summon this card from your hand. So what I tended to do, it's been a while since I've been to a tournament, but the last time I played this at a tournament, I would summon my copy of Splash Mage, use Splash Mage's effect to summon back something, and then summon out my Kachiri by negating Splash Mage's effect. And that's just because I didn't need it at that point, because I already used it. And then Gusari at Ignister allows you to just crash. It allows you to make your monster and your opponent's monster's attack equal to 3,000 each. You can also, when the Link monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card from your hand. When your Link monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. That's fairly useful as well. When attack is declared involving a Link monster you control and an opponent's monster, you can banish this card from your grave. The attack of those monsters become 3,000. So, 3 really, really useful effects on Gusari. So, yeah, that's why he's a one of... you can obviously change the ratios to better fit your dueling style. I think I've said it a lot in my videos, but each of these decks are tailored to how I play the game. So I'm more of an offensive, beatdown kind of person. I've been playing since the beginning, so it makes sense. My first deck was the Kaiba starter deck. And obviously, with my YouTube handle being Blue Eyes Master, that is the deck I am most at home playing, is a Blue Eyes deck or a Dragon-based deck or something that has high attack. And this deck is able to get pretty good on attack points. For other hand traps, we have Valor and Crow. Again, I don't really feel the need to explain why they're in here. I'm sure they're well known enough that that's not needed. As we dive into spells, we have 3 mining, 2 copies of the field spell. That's just because 1 wasn't enough. 2 just seemed like a really, really good balance. Yeah. I have 2 copies of I Meet You. It helps to unbrick. Though, if you don't summon the monster you pick, you do take 2,300 points of damage, but the ability to try to unbrick yourself is kind of happy medium. I'd rather take that damage by not summoning it if I can go into a different monster. So, it's useful to unbrick and get into a different place, even if you have to take the damage. 1 copy of Eye Contact. It helps to send the second copy of the island to the bottom of your deck, and then you get to draw. So that's really, really useful. We got 2 copies of Idle Reborn. That's just to help you resummon monsters. And with Doyon's effect, when it's link summoned, you can add a AI spell or trap to your hand. It just lets you recycle these 2, so to become as many as needed. So that's it for the Cyverse engine spells. Let's get into the rest of the spells real quick. For the rest of them, it's 2 Ruler, 1 Called By, a single Raigeki, and then a Feather Duster. In this Cashier Tier 0 format, board wipes are extremely useful, and then the back row / field spell removal is very useful. Ways to negate monster effects are great as well. So the only card in here that I would possibly switch out is Called By, just because, while it's so useful in this format, it's not nearly as viable as it was. That is it for the spells, though. let's dive into the few traps I run. So the only AI trap I run is I show, and it's useful, but it's very, very situational. It's better for pitching purposes. I hate to say it. If you have a link, I believe it's link 3 or higher. Yeah, link 3 or higher at Ignister monster on the field, you can summon out as many non-link at Ignister monsters as you have. So, obviously, you could summon out the Fusion, which I don't run, your Light Dragon, and your Pegasus from the deck, and then you have 2 monsters that also ends the battle phase. Is there anything else? Well, you control a link 3 or higher at Ignister in the extra monster zone. That is key. It needs to be in the extra monster zone. When your opponent declares an attack, special summon from the extra deck any number of non-link Cyberse monsters with 2300 attack whose combined attack is equal to or less, combined attack is less than or equal to the attacking monster's attack, then end the battle phase. So it does have to be less than or equal to the attack of the monsters who are attacking you. They do have to be Cyber or at Ignister monsters, so it limits the play a little. I mean, it could be non-Cyber or at Ignisters, but in this build, I don't run anything but the Ignister monsters that would meet the requirements. For non-AI stuff, we have 2 Imperm for the effect negation. We have our Warning, and then we have a Torrential. So, again, I'm not going to spend too much time getting into these, but they're all extremely powerful traps, especially in this format. With Imperm, you can negate, and if it's in a column or whatever from where the trap was set, you can, make it so spells cannot be activated in that zone. Torrential board wipes. And then Solemn Warning is a good way to negate a summon / activation. Yeah. Though you do pay 2 grand in life points, but the means justify it. Being able to stop a monster from being summoned or a spell card from being used, that definitely merits at least 2 grand in points. Diving into the extra deck now, we still have our copy of the Arrival. That's not going to change. We have our Neo Tempest Terahertz Firewall Dragon, Access Code Talker, and the original Firewall Dragon rounds out the big boys, so to speak, for the deck, with Neo Tempest Terahertz obviously being up there with Access Code, and the Arrival Access Code can, be summoned using Firewall Dragon, and then it could target it in the Brave. So we used to get a very big Access Code Talker. For the other extra deck cards, we have, again, Wind Pegasus and Light Dragon. For the 2 non-link, the 2 of the non-link monsters, and then the final non-link is Firewall Xyz Dragon. He's really good in this deck. A lot of people don't run him because they don't think it's that great. I think I mentioned it in my last video for Attic Nesters, but Xyz Dragon is honestly one of my favorite cards in this deck because you can re-summon out a Link 4 monster by detaching 2. So that opens up strategy. That opens up your ability to go into the Arrival. You can go into your Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz, or you can just swing for big game. Like, you summon the Link monster next to him. So if you have a big Link board with just 2 zones open, you could theoretically just have one big monster. Because if everything points to him, he gains 500 attack for every Link arrow pointed at him. So, say it's him in the middle. You resummon out Firewall Dragon. Let's see here. You have the arrival in 1 extra monster zone. And then you manage to extra link and do this. That's a very big monster. Let's see if I can get him on camera here. So you can manage this. That's a very, very big monster because you have 3 grand here, 2 grand, 2 grand, 2,500. Like, that's a lot of points going into him. Now, obviously, this is very, very difficult to pull off, but it could happen. If you're trying to extra link, and obviously extra linking is not as potent in the meta as it was. But if you had a way to do this, it would be a game changer. Like, this is a very big monster now. So, that's the reasoning behind running him. So, the rest of the extra deck is a copy of Templar, Fire Phoenix, Transcode, the Splash Mage, Update Jammer, 2 Infants, and then a copy of Ling Karibo. Like I said, not a lot changed. It's basically just the 1 Link monster, but it's still a very, very nice combination. And it's something that made the original Dark Fluid Dragon non-viable in the meta. Or non-viable even to play. Because you needed to have Link, or you needed Synchro, Fusion, Ritual, and Xyz in the graveyard to maximize his power. All you had to do was send out different attributes to the graveyard to empower him. And he can get big quick. But that is it for this video. If you liked it, go ahead, drop a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya!